Hi, my name is Zach, and I'm doing an introductory on rugby. For those you don't know, it was actually a European sport that was actually played before football was even invented, and football actually takes some of its aspects from rugby in terms of play and tackling and the physical nature of the game itself. It is a contact sport. Um, First of all, the game is played with two teams of 15 players, which split up between forwards, who are usually the bigger guys that take on a lot of the inside stuff, and the backs, who are the speedy, fast guys on the outside who try and get the ball to, so we don't have to run as much. But there's also a player called a scrum half, who is essentially, in reference to football, the quarterback. He's the guy that's always going to take the ball from the pile, from contact, and he's going to send it out to whoever else to move the ball forward. We play with an oval-shaped ball like this. This is actually a regulation game ball. It's about 11 to 13 inches long and about 13.5 to 15.5 ounces. It's longer and heavier than a football, and its dynamics are shaped and such so they can be thrown sideways or backwards and kicked a lot differently than a football. It has more of a, I guess you're going to know where it's going, rather than when you kick a football you really don't know where it's going half the time. The easiest way to describe rugby would pretty much be like, it's pretty much like backyard football with your friends. Everyone likes to just throw the ball around either backwards or wherever to try and make something happen, make a play, but rugby has a lot more structure and rules, and it makes it a lot more fun, I believe, than football. The main objective of the game is to, obviously like football, score more points than your opponent. And you can do so by getting this lovely ball here past the try line, which is essentially the goal line, and you have to apply downward pressure, otherwise it does not count, which gives you 5 points. And after that, depending on the area of which you scored it for the try, is where the kick can come from, which can give you another 2 points. You can also, similar to football, do what's called a drop kick or a goal kick, which will give you 3 points from anywhere on the field as long as you can make it between the goal posts. When I referred before earlier as the game being a contact sport, very similar to football, but we do not wear pads. We are only allowed to wear pretty much padded shirts that cover your shoulders, your ribs, and then you're allowed to wear a scrum cap, which covers your head from little knocks and blows, but it really doesn't have much padding. It won't do much against really hard hits, which is why rugby, most of all the tackles are supposed to be from about your shoulders down. Otherwise it is an illegal tackle and it is a penalty, and you can be obviously penalized and sent to the sin bin for it, which puts you out of the game for a certain amount of time. So you may run with the ball, you can kick it, you can pass it, and just none of it can go forward. If it goes forward, it is an illegal pass. There's also no blocking. There's a thing called what's called a knock-on, where if you get past the ball and you catch it but you drop it forward, it is called a knock-on, which is then the possession is given to the other team, and they may either elect to do what is called either a scrum or a line-out. Now, interesting terms, but they're all pretty cool. A scrum is an 8-man pack in which you have 3 front rowmen, 2 behind them, as well as 2 more in the flanks, and then you have 1 more right up the middle behind. Each team has to get as low as they can, and they pretty much come together and make a little mesh like this, and then a ball is rolled between the two of us. And what happens is we have to push against each other, and we have to try and fight and get the ball to our team. And then lineouts are pretty cool. You're going to have a line of, again, 3 to 8 people, one each side, and you're going to have what's called a channel in the middle. It's about 1 meter apart from each side. And the idea is for whichever team gets the line out, has their thrower throw it in between the two, and you have 2 lifters who lift your jumper, and he's trying to catch the ball in the air to throw it to your other team. It's actually a pretty fascinating maneuver if you ever get a chance to watch it. It's actually pretty fun. The other aspect of rugby, which comes with the contact part, is what we call rucking, where if you take the ball and you go into contact and you go down, you can have teammates that come over and pretty much clear out the guys that tackled you or are trying to rip the ball away from you. That's why rugby is much more of a team game than people believe it is, because you have people that always have to come in and support you anywhere you go. Other than that, the game is played with 40-minute halves. There's a 10-minute halftime, and play really does not ever stop. It's a very, very fast-paced, very conditioned, hardy sport where you always are running, always going. The only time you stop is really for major injury. Other than that, that should cover just about all the basics of rugby. There's a lot more intricate rules and, stuff that I can't really cover in this short amount of time, but it's a very great sport. It's a very physical sport, and I really, really enjoy it, and I hope you enjoyed this quick introduction into rugby.